Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kim, otherwise known as the Booker Harlot, because I love all things Booker Prize related. And friends, Booker season is upon us, and wow, the wait was a long one this year. So I thought for the long list, and full disclosure, this is the first Booker long list that I have ever come into that I haven't read a single one of the books. So that's a new record for me. And I thought I would make a reading vlog around each of the individual books so that I could spend more time with them. So the first book that was available to me is Pearl by Sian Hughes, and it's narrated by Lana Bryden. And I'm filming in my Jeep because I drive a lot, and this is when I listen to audiobooks. So while I am listening and driving, I will leave you with some clips of my everyday life. There will be gardening and hopefully some nice sunsets over the lakes and walks with Ripley and probably a lot of fur baby shenanigans. So let's get to it.
Hi, good girl.
So I'm about halfway through the audiobook, and my apologies. The narrator's name is Laura Bryden, not Lana, and she does an absolutely lovely job. There is something so charming about listening to an audiobook that's not in your accent. I absolutely adore it. It always makes a book so much better. Um, so I learned that the author is a poet, and this doesn't surprise me. This is her first novel, but the writing definitely is poetic, and it's lovely so far. Oh, and also the small little village of Cheshire, I believe it is. She actually grew up in that town, so it is a town that is real to her. Now, in terms of plot, and no spoilers, this is about Marianne. It starts off as Marianne as an adult with a daughter of her own who's reflecting back on something that happened when she was 8 years old, in which her mother suddenly disappeared. And the first quarter of the book is absolutely haunting, and it's very lyrical, and she sort of flashes back into memories of her as a child and memories of her mother, and examines memories that she know can't be real because certain things don't make sense. And um, I adored it. I thought it was like swimming through her childhood with all these different segments. But there's always lots of questions because she doesn't know why her mother disappeared or what happened to her mother. And in the next part of the book, she is 16 years old and she's having a relationship with Emily. And you know from the beginning that this relationship is not going to go well, and that it's very dysfunctional. But she tells you this up front, but then you have to wait to see what happens. And I found that those two different structures are a little jarring. I wish that we had stayed with older Marianne, who is reflecting back on the memories and sort of piecing it all together. Another part that sort of jarred me was the book starts out and you think it's Marianne who is trying to figure out the mysteries of her mother's disappearance. But there's two times so far where she's pointed out the fact that she is telling you, the reader, this story. Um, and it's sort of, let's just say it's evolving because I'm only halfway through, so I shouldn't be having concrete, this isn't working structure for me. But I also have questions about the title. So the title is Pearl, and it's a medieval poem that Marianne discovers her mother, or she thinks her mother, liked. And she finds a book in which this poem is in it, and there's notes, but she doesn't exactly know if they're her mother's notes or the student who had the book before. And there's only a really short snippet, and then it sort of leaves Pearl alone. So I'm hoping that the next half of the book is a better tie-in to the title. And so far, I'm really enjoying this. This is very well written. Um, it's mesmerizing. I just wish that the structures didn't change so much. But that's where I'm at, and I still have a couple of hours left to go, so I'm gonna get driving, and I'll leave you with some video. What you doing Wednesday?
YouTube channel, but I don't.
Well, I've just finished Pearl, and it is absolutely lovely. What a wonderful little gem of a book. So, first of all, Paskin, when she left you, was talking about the title of the book and how it didn't seem to work into the plot at all. And literally, as soon as I stopped making that video, started driving, and turned on the audiobook, then the title is explained. And I won't give it away to you because I think it does contain a little bit of spoilers, but it absolutely does work. Now, in terms of structures, I didn't mention that this book is told in chapters. I think there's about 23 of them. And at the beginning of each chapter is a nursery rhyme and a different nursery rhyme. And I think this is really well done because this is a story about a little girl and about childhood. And it really serves to remind you that this is the main focus of the book. Um, in terms of writing, you can absolutely tell this woman is an amazing poet. I think that everything that she put in this book, every word is well placed. I don't think that an editor should be changing a thing. I think that every little tiny detail is impactful. She has such an amazing way of evoking an image and describing a scene, and just the messiness of ordinary life that she's able to convey is amazing. There were scenes that have stuck in my mind. There's one scene in which Marianne is thinking about this handmade dress that she got in a thrift shop, and the people around her are commenting on it, and it just everything about that dress is just evokes Marianne's state of mind, and I just thought it was so well done. I keep thinking about all the different scenes over and over again. Now, the character of Marianne, she is definitely an unreliable narrator, and I do love an unreliable narrator. Um, she is telling you her story. In fact, she's writing it down for you. But I still think that she's very unlikable. She's very unlovable, which isn't surprising because she doesn't like herself and she doesn't love herself, and she's very traumatized and um, self-destructive. And this is also um, indicative of how she tells the story, because you are forced to look at Marianne's experiences through Marianne's eyes and nothing else. There is no one else that's going to give you an indication of what is actually going on and what is the truth. Now, pacing, this is my only criticism, and it's tiny, is that I wish it didn't flip and flop from Marianne as an adult looking back on short moments in her childhood to this sort of middle section where there's a long narrative, a long linear narrative with her love interest. And I just thought it could have been more consistent, but tiny, tiny little criticism. The themes that are tackled in this are definitely motherhood, grief, postpartum depression. I think that her writing is very similar to Anne Tyler, Elizabeth Strout, and Claire Keegan, which surprisingly enough are three writers that she named as ones that she liked in an interview that I read. So this is such an amazing start to Booker season. I am so impressed. She is definitely going to be an author that I watch out for in the future. Now, for Canadians, this book is now available for pre-order in Canada, and it comes out on October 5th. So if this book does make the shortlist, I am definitely going to order a copy and I'm going to reread it. um, because I think that with audiobooks, because I can't give my full attention to it because I'm driving and I like my life, I think that I miss out on a lot of the nuances in the imagery because I can't put a post-it note or underline things or go back and reread. So if it makes the short list, I'm going to reread it. So thank you so much for joining me. Please like and subscribe to my video, and comment below if you're going to read this book, if you have read this book, what your plans are for Booker season. And while you're doing that, I am going to hop outside of my Jeep and take a clip of a very windy Lake Ontario for you. So thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.